today. Hello. These lights are so bright. My name's Witchy. I'm going to be hosting this panel today. Are y'all excited to hear from Ross Marquand? I am super excited. He's one of my favorite people at this convention, and I'm very happy to be a part of this panel. Before we get started, I have a couple of rules. I know rules aren't fun, but I do have to say them. Rule number one is that is how many questions you get. You get one question, just one. No 5 questions, no 7 questions. He will be at his booth all weekend, so please take that as an opportunity to go visit him, speak to him face to face. They love that, so please only one question this time. Rule number 2 is no requests. No, hey, can you come down here and give me a hug? Can you FaceTime my grandma? It's her birthday. Can you try my hot sauce? Don't do that. Also do that at the table. He would love your hot sauce. So please go there and do that. Rule number 3 is be courteous to the people behind you. There are other people that would like to ask questions. So that leans onto the multi-part question. Make sure it's short and concise. Rule number 4, please be kind to Ross or I will fight you. I got skinny arms, but I'll fight you. And rule number 5, the most important, please have fun. So, with all that said, please give a warm welcome to the stage, Ross Marquand. Yay. Welcome. Good to see you. It was only 5 seconds backstage. We were dancing to that music. It was great. It was great.
How was everybody? That was so bright.
I know.
So bright, yeah.
Is there anyone out there? I can't see.
Yeah, it is toasty. Hi.
Yeah.
What's going on? Oklahoma City? Home of the Sooners? Yes. Oh, shots fired. And then tornadoes, of course. Last time did a con in Tulsa, and it was, I think I mentioned, rainstorm mixed with tornado that literally, you were there? Yeah, that was the most terrifying storm I think I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
It was crazy.
Allegedly, there was a storm warning here.
That's what yeah.
It
Today?
still is?
Hell yeah.
Oh, let's go.
Let's just stay here for the next few days. Let's camp out. Let's have a slumber party. Paint each other's nails. Do each other's hair.
I think we should recreate Twister. We should get one of the cars and go chase it, throw the silver balls in the sky.
Do you want to be Helen Hunt or can I?
I think you should be.
I'll be Helen Hunt. You'll be Bill Paxton.
Yes, correct.
Or you'll be Carrie Elwes.
Yes.
Or how do you say his name? Carrie Elwes.
Yeah. How do you say his last name?
Elwes.
The guy from Saw
How
and
was
Princess
it?
Bride.
Elwes. Okay, there you go.
Elwes.
Dixie knows.
That must have been a hard preschool life for that guy. It's Carrie Elwes. Well, have you been to Oklahoma City before?
I think so, but I can't remember if I have.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah,
my mom's cousin's family lives out here, actually.
Oh.
And I think they're still here.
Oh.
The Rawlinsons, are you guys here? No? Okay.
Anyone?
All right.
Anyone?
No?
Please?
Okay.
No?
Okay.
Ugh,
right,
well, I hope we can come back for many other years because I feel like the crowd here has been so lovely.
It's been fantastic.
Yes.
And I've done a bunch of shows in Tulsa too, and I know it's like an hour and a half away, right?
Oh, I didn't know it was that close.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Hell
Midwest guy.
Oh yeah.
Biggest fan.
Big fan. Yeah.
Speaking of biggest fans.
Yes.
I heard that before you got your most recent role, you were a very big X-Men fan.
Yeah.
So getting the role of the Professor X, how did you feel when you got that call and got that role?
Oof. Who, by the way, is everyone watching X-Men 97? How many people? Yeah. If you haven't, my friends have heard me say this a million times. I've been going nuts for this show for the last couple months. I think it's one of the best shows on TV, and I'm not just saying that because they pay me to work on it. It's so good.
Yeah.
They did such a great job with the animation, the writing, the way the stories are told too. It feels so much more adult and complex than it ever did. It feels like the comics brought to life.
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, that show was the reason why I became an actor. Literally, I watched the first X-Men from '92 to '97. And Wolverine was a character that I definitely connected with because I got picked on a bunch. I was tall, gangly, glasses, terrible acne and braces, and I got picked on relentlessly. And I was in theater too, so imagine all of that mixed together. And Boy Scouts. So once a month, the first Friday of every month, I had to go with all my other Boy Scout friends to school wearing the Boy Scout uniform.
But you know
While
how to
you're
tie knots.
For sure, and that's a good thing, but like there is nothing more terrifying than going to high school when you're already got your hormones swirling around and you're like trying to be cool and you're wearing the most horrible khaki pants with like olive green shirt. You're just like, oh my gosh, it was a terrible color combination. And I got picked on a lot. So Wolverine was this savage character that just didn't fit in anywhere, and he felt like he was constantly isolated from everybody and everything. And there was an episode that I hope you guys remember, but there was one where he went up to like an Inuit tribe up at north near Alaska, and he's just trying to like have some R&R and like clear
Just
his
relax.
head. Exactly, and
He
of course
just needs to relax.
yeah, and of course Sabretooth follows him there, and it's a whole kerfuffle, and he's like, I can't find peace even here. And as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy, I was like, I get it. I get what he's going through. And I felt like if I could convey that kind of emotion and that kind of complexity one day as an actor, that's what I wanted to do. I credit this show with literally my path towards acting. It's crazy.
That's so awesome. So you were obviously a big fan beforehand.
Too much of a fan. Yeah.
I had to watch like a supercut, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't until this one came out, and
Gotcha.
I was super excited about it because of all my friends. But I didn't realize that Professor X was technically dead at the end of the show. They made him seem dead.
Yeah.
So when you auditioned for it, did they tell you who you were auditioning for, or were you shocked that you got him?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
they got a general sense because they were like, they told us what the project was eventually, and because I've worked on so many Marvel things where they're just shrouded in secrecy.
So secret.
Secret names and everything,
Yeah.
and certainly secret character names. But once I read the description of like 50 to 60,
Bald.
yeah, I was like, I think I know who this might be. But I auditioned for Magneto too.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I felt very good about both auditions, but they were like, we liked you for this, but we really want to dial in your Xavier, and I was like, great. I mean, you could literally have me playing a trash can in this show, I'd be happy, So like to get to play Professor X and now Apocalypse in season 2, I'm like.
I'm convinced one day you could have a show with just you in it, voicing every character, because you have so many voices.
Thank you. I stay home a lot. I talk to myself all the time.
You're in the mirror.
I do. Yeah. So
that is so
not
cool.
not afraid to admit that. Yeah.
You also had like the cool moment in X-Men '97 where it's like basically the Avengers Endgame, where it's like Avengers Assemble, but
to
like
me,
the X-Men.
my X-Men. Yeah.
There it is.
Like.
There it is.
There's something so cool about like conjuring the team with your brain. Like that's just sort of like, come here, I need you now. It's like,
You're as an actor, you're like, I wish I could do that with my agent.
Yeah, exactly.
I need you.
I need you, please, Gene. The funny thing is, when I was first doing the voice, every time I had to to get into the character, I had to go Gene or Scott, because like something about those two names from the original series, that was like the lead in for me as a kid. I was like, he really says that so specifically, and that's where it came from. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of actors do have specific words that they say to get into character with certain things.
Absolutely.
Are there any ones that you have that are like funny for certain ones, or that might be a tough question?
Yeah, I think for Red Skull, I always have to do, because there's this line from the first Avenger that Hugo Weaving did, and I love that he did such a fantastic job in that. And he's talking to Captain America there on the gangway with Bucky, and they're kind of had this little skirmish, and they're going away from each other, and he goes, Captain, there are no flags in the future. I have seen the future. There are no flags, and for whatever reason, that just stuck with me.
Do you say it every time you see a flag?
It's like, there are no flags, Captain.
No
yes.
flags.
Yeah, I should do that every time I see a flag.
Now you will.
There are no flags.
Not in this
Yeah.
future.
Oh, shit. What a weird cross to die on. Yeah.
Well, by the way, everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and line up. We'll wait for people to line up and go ahead and take some audience questions, too. I feel like you have the most Marvel credits I've seen out of anybody. Yeah,
They just
many.
did an article about that said
Really?
which I was like, oh, damn, I didn't realize. I thought there were people who'd done more, but I guess
I mean, Josh Brolin is high. I feel like he's done everything, but you have quite a bit. You have
because I've Red Skull, Ultron, Doctor Doom, Apocalypse, Xavier.
like multiple versions of Ultron.
True.
Yeah.
And it's some other one too, but I can't remember.
Is there one that you would really want to do? Like,
Well, I mean, Omega Red Moon Knight was my white. I was like, I would kill to be Moon Knight. And I told my team for years, I was like, if they ever do a Moon Knight movie or TV show, please let me know.
Yeah.
And
Darn you, Oscar.
Oscar, he's so good.
He's so handsome.
That guy is so handsome. And you know he used to play in a ska band? Did you know this?
What? Really? Did he play the trumpet?
No, he plays guitar and he sings too. But there's videos going around on Instagram. As if he wasn't lovable enough. This dude played in several ska and punk bands in the late 90s, early 2000s. And you see him like jumping around. They're all dancing and skanking, like we used to do. Who used to go to ska? Okay,
Less Than Jake.
Oh, I'm dating myself. Oh,
Love the Less Than Jake show.
Less Than Jake. Holy crap! I haven't heard that name in a long time. Wow.
Yeah, we go to festivals to see them.
There was a. Were they good?
Yeah.
Nice. Sum 41. You ever watched
Yes.
Sum 41? Less
Yes.
Than Jake. Did you guys ever remember a band called Skank and Pickle? I'm not making that up. Does no one know what I'm talking about? Oh, no one knows what I'm talking about.
I like to think that Professor X sits in his room listening to Skank and
Just-
Pickle. Yeah.
Throwing elbows, yeah.
Yes.
That was like middle school. So middle school was swing dancing and ska. That was in
You
big,
just want to dance.
in the 90s, in the early mid 90s. That was what was cool. So yeah, not cool anymore. Now you kids with your ticky talkies. Are you doing the flossing? Are you doing this? What do you? Show me. What do you do? This thing? Show me your TikToky dance.
I don't do any.
Let me see your
Too
TikToky dance.
suave.
What do you got for us?
I don't know.
How do you dance? Let me just see how you dance, like normal.
I just do random stuff.
Let me see it.
Nice.
We're gonna put you on TikTok. Someone film this kid. We're gonna put him on TikTok. He's gonna be TikTok famous after this. Let's see it.
Here.
No? Okay, no, that's cool.
He said, "I'm a
He's like-
singer, not a dancer. This
There
is
you
my
go, there you go.
microphone."
I got you. You got
It's
a question?
okay.
No, sorry, man. I didn't put you on the spot. Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah,
What's your question?
So my name is Chevy. Do y'all know like the truck?
That is a cool name.
Great name. Hell yeah.
That's
so
a really cool name.
My question for today is, what is your favorite scene you acted as for Aaron in The Walking Dead?
Ooh, that's a great question. You seen the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. There's a scene in season 11. I think my favorite episode overall was the Russian roulette episode I did with Father Gabriel. We stumble upon this guy in the shed or in his warehouse, and he's got a boar tied up in there, and we have to play Russian roulette. That was one of the most interesting acting exercises I've ever done on the show. That was a blast to film. And Robert Patrick, who was the villain of that episode, he was also the T-1000 in Terminator 2 and a million other things. And I was so worried about working with him because he plays these really dark, intense characters all the time, and I thought he might be a little intimidating. He couldn't have been nicer, and he was cracking us up with his jokes the whole time. He was so fun.
I feel like it always works that way.
Yeah.
Like the most intimidating people are the nicest.
100%. Have you met him before?
I have not. No.
I just saw him a few weeks ago overseas, and he's just the loveliest guy. So if you get a chance, meet Robert Patrick. He's great. Yeah. But other than that, I'd say the scene where Judith and Gracie, my daughter, are in the basement with the waters flooding and the walkers are coming after her. That was
Where you saved them?
Yeah, that was such a blast to shoot because they were originally going to use my real basement of my real house in the show, and then they realized the water damage would essentially make the house useless. So they had to build a whole fake basement that was like waterproof and all the
Basement
crew.
pool.
Yeah, I mean, but the crew was in there nonstop for several hours. They didn't go on bathroom breaks, so it was just like, where is it?
No.
Oh, I'm swimming around in that. Nice. So like, it was just a blast to shoot from a physical standpoint, but also like trying to imagine my daughter, or even Judith for that matter, dying, and that fear of being a father and wanting to save your kid was so much fun to play. So
I thought one of them were gonna die in that episode too.
I did too.
She dropped her sword, like her katana that Michonne gave her, in the water and lost it.
Yeah.
That episode, and then all the walkers are coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was what was your favorite?
My favorite scene,
Uh-huh.
probably when Rick is in the terminus.
Rick.
Rick.
Yeah.
Like he's in the terminus and he's like, when they're doing the lineup, but they have the stuff over his mouth and he's getting out of there,
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Or when Carol shoots something and makes a big explosion.
Oh yeah, I think that was the same episode, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good, solid.
Heck yeah. Right on. Thank you, Chevy.
Thank you for your question,
Yeah,
Chevy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice shot.
Good job, bud.
Chevy is such a cool name.
Such a cool name.
Such a cool
Such
name.
a cool name. Yeah.
Hi, what's your name?
Hello, I'm Trey. I actually met Ross yesterday. You guys signed a comic for me. So first off, thank you for that. And I'm not trying to draw this out too much, but so the show started when I was actually 10 years old, and it's my favorite show of all time.
So you're
it's like,
24 now?
23. I'll be
23.
24 in
Tallest
December.
23-year-old I've ever seen in my life.
Seriously. Yeah. Damn.
But so like what I wanted to ask is, so like, there's so many great moments of the show, that I got to witness, like firsthand, watching it every single day. It was kind of a similar question to what he asked, but like there's so many great moments of the show. I just wanted to know what moment is probably like the most that stands out to you the most. Whether it be behind the scenes or like a certain scene you filmed, like he said, or just something that stands out to you the most more than anything.
There was an episode that was pretty much just Aaron and Rick going out to get supplies for Negan and the Saviors.
Yeah, great
Because we
episode.
were basically like held hostage by them, and
Yeah.
they were like, the only way you're going to survive is if you bring us supplies and pay your taxes,
You got beat
essentially.
up in that episode. It made me really sad.
Yeah, it was insane. And like he and I have to go out in this houseboat to get these supplies and almost die in the process. And there were several times where we had to wait for the rain to pass because even though we were in the water, we would have to get dried off, and then there were so many times where Andy and I were just sitting on top of the houseboat in the middle of this lake with all these dead bodies floating around us.
Wow.
And we were talking about his kids, and they're going to school in London, and he's like, I really miss them, mate. It's hard being away from them. He's like, they're 8 and 10. I really miss them so much. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. And we were talking about family and like the sacrifices of. And I remember looking around, being like, what a weird job. Like, kill zombies for a living, and just like, there's something about that man. If you ever get a chance to meet him, he is the most gentle, extraordinary, but also like fierce dude. Like when he gets to set, he's no longer, hello, I'm Andrew Lincoln. He's like he's very like posh, almost.
Yeah.
And then the moment he gets to set, he's like, yeah, all right, here, let's go. Yeah, let's do this. And his favorite thing to say was, let's kick this pig. That was like his like go. I don't know if it's a British thing or whatever, but like, yeah, let's kick this pig, and I'm like, yeah, let's kick a pig. What a weird.
Hell yeah.
Like I thought we had weird phrases. Y'all are kicking pigs over there.
Something he just picked up in his accent class. So
Exactly.
they're like, say kick the pig over and over, and he's
You're like,
stuck with him.
They'll think I'm a real American then. Yeah. Yeah, that was probably my favorite. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bud. Thank you. Hello again.
Hi,
Good to see you.
good to see you again. I'm Lance. My question is, have you ever seen any of the edits people have made of you when you worked on The Walking Dead?
Yeah, like on Instagram and whatnot, or
Yeah.
Did you make some?
No,
Oh,
but I was
okay.
thinking of making some.
Yeah. I look at that stuff. People tag me a lot, and I see it. I'm on Instagram all the time, which is very embarrassing to admit. I'm a 42-year-old man. I probably shouldn't be on Instagram as much as I am, but
It's a time suck.
it is. And
Yeah,
we were talking about it. I have ADHD, so I'm like, I can't stop.
It'll
Like,
be
I need
8
to-
hours later.
Yeah, it's a real problem. So yeah, if you want to make something, tag me. I'm sure I'll see it because I'm
Okay.
on there all the time. Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like
so
if I were a celebrity and people made fan edits of me, I would watch them before going to the gym. And I'd be like, I'm the strongest. Just have to do it.
It's a good makes you feel good about
Yeah,
yourself. too.
exactly. Hi,
Hello.
what's your name?
What's up?
Good to see you again, man.
What's
Yeah.
up? Good to see you. My name's
Hey, yeah.
Luke. I've watched all your stuff on The Walking Dead all the years. Appreciate all your work.
Thank you, thank
Everybody
you.
here is awesome.
Thanks, man.
But also a fan of 97 and Invincible, of course. It's a great show. Between all the characters you played on Invincible, like Immortal or Robot or Professor X or Apocalypse, what's like your favorite voice acting role or like the most challenging?
Oh, across all of them?
Yeah, across all of them.
Oof.
I saw you're on Family Guy too. I'm a big Family. Who'd you play on Family
I
Guy?
played a few.
Sorry for 2 questions.
No, it's okay. On Family Guy, I've played about 30 different people, but it's mostly like whenever they're trying to get like a celebrity for a joke and they can't get the celebrity
Gotcha.
because, like, Brad Pitt's not gonna do.
Gotcha.
So I've done Brad Pitt, Harrison Ford, Johnny Depp, John Malkovich, Donald Trump, George W. Bush, Jesse Eisenberg of all people.
Nice.
I played Garth Brooks one time, which is like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't do Garth, but I could try, But
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
but I don't think they've aired the Donald Trump one yet, but that was a lot of fun to do because
Oh, yeah,
like
man.
seeing Donald in the world of Family Guy
So you
just
still
made me.
currently do stuff with family?
Yeah, occasionally, yeah.
Nice.
But most of the time, I'm just working mostly on the X-Men and Invincible. But
Awesome.
every so often, I'll come back and do that. But like the Donald Trump was so wild. I don't remember the premise exactly, but it was definitely like Peter's like, oh, it's like that one time that I met Donald Trump in a bathroom, and he's like, oh, I love the towels here. They're very nice, very luxurious. They're terrific towels. They're the best towels, believe me. They feel great. They're like cotton. They got 300, 500 thread count. I don't know. So many threads on these towels. They're wonderful. They're really nice. Very, very soft. Very nice material. And it was just, he let me riff for a while. And it was,
That's great.
so that was a fun one. Yeah.
You're scary good at that one.
Thank you.
Right.
Scary good at that one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Of
Thanks.
course. Oh, yeah. I answered your question. Sorry.
Oh,
The one I like the most, is that what you said?
Yeah, what you like the most and the most challenging?
I think the one I like the most and the most challenging is Apocalypse, because the original version of him, and we were doing the session a couple days ago, and I'm doing several scenes where it's Xavier talking to Apocalypse, which is weird to switch back and forth. It's a mental, like, it kind of gets hard at a certain point, but Apocalypse from the original series had such like a booming Shakespearean voice. They obviously added an effect to make it get that like kind of crackly robotic vibe to it. But he's got, it's like every word he says is so laced with meaning and power. So trying to get that right was very hard for me. But I love playing Apocalypse. Like he's like one of the best villains in the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
So
he's awesome.
it's a blast, Yeah.
Another Oscar Isaac, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. He took Moon Knight from me.
I
He took
know.
Apocalypse.
What are we doing,
yeah.
man?
Doing everything.
Yeah,
man.
well,
No.
appreciate the
Of
dialogue,
course.
man.
Thank you,
Thanks,
bud. Thank
sir.
you. Yeah, cheers. Hello again.
All right.
All
Thank you
right.
again for meeting us downstairs. I
Yeah,
appreciate
of
it.
course, man. Yeah.
But my name's Preston, and so my question, I guess, is so you've done a lot of Robert Kirkman, it sounds like, with your career, with The Walking Dead, moving on to Invincible. I was just curious how that's like working with some of the similar actors and actresses from one project to the other, and what the experience has been like with Invincible.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about Robert is that, once you've worked with him, if he likes working with you, he's like, I'll keep that in mind, and he literally just cherry picked all of his favorite, Walking Dead actors for these roles, and he was like, Lenny, you'll be Darkwing, and Cudlitz was Red Rush, and I didn't, the funny thing is I've known Cudlitz for years. I didn't know he could do a Russian accent. Didn't even know he could do accent work at all. Like, it's just not something he normally showcases, And he was great. And Lauren, Maggie played Warrior Woman. Sasha plays, oh gosh, she gets killed. Was it Green? What? Green Ghost, thank you. Tyrese plays Martian Man. Like every single.
Steven Yeun.
Yeah, so Steven Yeun obviously plays Invincible. Like, I mean, he laid it with so many Walking Dead actors, and he's just wonderful to work with. I just talked to him last week, and he's arguably one of the easiest collaborators I've ever worked with, and just such a nice, down to earth guy. And the stuff that comes out of his brain, you're like, how are you this nice? But you're so crazy. Like the stuff that comes out of his head, you're like, my God, are you okay? Have you gone to therapy? Like
His therapist makes a lot of money.
a lot of money. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, that's Kirkman. Yeah. So
Appreciate it.
thank you, bud. Yeah. How you doing?
Hi again.
See you again.
I'm Kirik, like Lyric. I wanted to know what you would want The Walking Dead to end up, or how you would think, like what you'd want Aaron to end up being.
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow. So like overall, where I want the show to go?
Overall.
So I haven't seen the spin-offs, I'll be honest, because I don't have cable, and I've been traveling so much that I haven't been in a hotel that's showing it. I guess, especially overseas, it's not available. It's only available in America, which is crazy to me. But I heard they're great. I want to see them, but I really want to see a version of our characters like going to other parts of the world. Like if Daryl can go to France, I don't know how the hell he wound up there. Did his bike fly all of a sudden? Like, how did that happen? I haven't been told how that works, but to go down to landlocked either Canada or Mexico into South America, I've spent a lot of time in South America, and I love it down there. So I think seeing a version of the show where a bunch of our heroes, for whatever reason, they feel compelled to get out of America proper and make their way down south, that would be a really cool show. I would watch the hell out of that. Like if they wound up in like an Incan ruin, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be cool as hell. And they're like fighting with like Incan weapons and stuff. Like,
That would be
that'd
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's stopping them? They have nothing but time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And obviously people are still watching the spin-offs. It's like
Yes.
there's a hunger for it. I feel like Walking Dead's gonna be like the next Star Trek. And it kind of already is, you know?
Yeah.
Like where they can make various iterations of the show for 60 years to come. Maybe 70, who knows? So I think as long as people are still watching this stuff, we can do all kinds of different stories. So yeah. You should-
Especially because it's so timeless.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and because everything is frozen in time once the apocalypse starts, right? So there's some things that they've gone back in time with, like the mace arm is like a very medieval weapon, you know? There's some things with the solar panels in Alexandria that are still very modern, but like it's this marrying of what's right from the old world and what's right from the new world, and kind of just saying, let's just go with that. Whatever gives us the best chance for survival, you know? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
They left your characters intentionally open-ended, I would say, too.
Yeah.
Just in case.
They didn't kill us. They
So
didn't kill a lot of
fingers
us. Yeah.
crossed,
Yeah. No,
we
it's great.
see
Thank
some
you.
more of that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope so. Your guess is as good as mine, though.
Yep.
Honestly, yeah. You should write. You guys should just like write fan fiction about what you want to see the show to do. Like whatever you're thinking. Aliens. We could have aliens. We always talked about having a musical episode, which I think would be so much fun. Like we actually came this close to doing a musical episode the last season. We were very close to doing it, which I was like, why don't we? You know, we got half of the cast, not me, but half of the cast are phenomenal singers. Like Father Gabriel, the pipes on that man. Good God. Princess, also an amazing singer. A lot of great singers on that show. So yeah, musical. Write them and say you want to see a musical Walking Dead.
Send all your letters, comments.
Exactly.
They'll make it
Make it.
happen.
See the zombies like doing the Thriller dance or something?
It would be perfect.
Hi, my name is Caden, and my question for the day is: remember in The Walking Dead with that metal arm, that metal mace?
Sure.
Did it like hurt to wear it?
Yeah, the first couple versions of it, especially because we didn't figure out, probably because I wasn't communicating this to the props department, I was just like powering through it, but they didn't have a sock for the first couple times I wore it. So they'd be, and they have to screw it into your, in place. So screws here, here, and here, and then all throughout the hand. So once the screw goes through where it's supposed to go, it was just digging into my flesh. And every time I'd be like, okay, I think it's tight, I think it's good, just good. And you know, there'd just be screws just poking into my arm for those first few years. And then at a certain point I was like, hey, I don't mean to be a, one of those annoying actors that's like, I'm hurting, you know, but I was like, but you're drawing blood every time you do that. Can we just like get a, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll get you a sock, dude. Why didn't you tell us earlier? I was like, I don't know, I'm an idiot. Like,
I've got anxiety.
I'm a people pleaser. I just, yeah. So that's that, but the mace arm, when that finally got the new hand, when it was like detachable and they could put the mace on there, it was so tight in there, I had to squeeze these fingers up like this to get it to fit. And for the longest time, after the last season, we shot for 14 months, almost straight. And I could barely feel these two fingers. It was just like, they were kind of frozen like this for a while, and I had to retrain them to get back into place. So it was, yeah. It looked cool, but it was...
heavy? Was it like
The regular one, the rubber one, was not. That was probably like 6 or 7 pounds. But the metal one, the one that actually was made of metal for breaking open windows and doors, that was probably like 15 pounds, which doesn't sound like much, but you have a 15-pound thing on all day. My left arm was like Popeye. I was like, it was so much bigger than my right. I was like, you working out? I'm like, just my left arm. Just my left arm, yeah. I probably should have balanced it out, but.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, bud. Good to see you. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, I'm Sean.
Sean,
Really, I answered a little bit of it, but I was going to ask just how physically grueling was really shooting on The Walking Dead?
Oh man, there were some days where we just didn't think we could finish the day, you know, because the heat down there. Oof. I mean, I'm sure it's very similar to Oklahoma, but like, it gets so damn hot and humid. Where I remember one day it was season 6. The wolves, that tribe called the Wolves, had broken into Alexandria, and we found out that one of them got hold of my backpacks and found the photos, and that's how they found out about it or whatever. And I'm in the street, and there's no trees around or anything. It's in the middle of Alexandria, and we're all like seeing how this all happened, what was the cause of this, and everyone's like, it's Rick, and Rick's like, I didn't do this, it's not my fault, you know? And then I'm like, guys, stop yelling at Rick, it's my fault. They found my photos, and I don't know how they found Alexandra from the photos, because it's not like there's Google Maps. They can't be like, oh yeah, we know where this is. Like, it was kind of flimsy. There were some writing choices that I'm like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but okay, you do it anyway. But I was out there doing these like pages of dialogue, because sometimes they just write these massive monologues for you, and you're out there when it's 110, 115 degrees with 100% humidity on top of that. And of course, they always had us wearing 4 or 5 layers for some damn reason, even though they know it's the South. And your brain just shuts down. You're just like, you're doing your lines, you're like, I can't remember. I knew I had it fine yesterday in the hotel, in the air conditioning, no problem, but you add that to running around and having to do the kills and everything and being covered in blood and mud, and then the bugs is the big thing. We'd have to do constant tick checks on each other. We had a few people have like pretty gnarly tick issues. And the mosquitoes, the chiggers, I don't know if you ever have those out here.
Yep.
Oh my God. How do you call them?
Chiggers,
Oh,
yeah, the little red bugs.
Oh my God. They would just devour our legs.
Selsun blue.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, is that what
yeah.
works it?
Yeah.
Ah, Selsun blue?
Selsun blue. I grew up in Tennessee, so we had
Oh,
them. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, we got to kill zombies for a living. So, you know, but I'd be lying if I didn't say Seth, Father Gabriel always said it best. He's like, when you do an episode of our show, you feel like you earned your paycheck, you know, versus like some shows, like I butt up a buddy who works on NCIS, and he's always in an air-conditioned studio, and he's like works for 6 hours a day, and he's done. And I'm like, must be nice, dude. Must be nice to like have that kind of vibe. And it was never comfortable on a show, which is kind of what made it great, I think, you know, because we were just a scrappy group of survivors, you know, trying to make it work, and it was a blast. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello again.
Hello again.
Yeah.
I did have a question for you.
Okay.
In Invincible, if you could bring back one of the original Guardians, which one would you do, and how do you think they would fit with the team? The new one.
I think Warrior Woman. I think she was the strongest next to Immortal for sure. And you know, I mean, Darkwing he's literally just a man, so he's Batman. He's gonna die. Red Rush is a badass, and he's very fast, but he'll die pretty quickly too.
Think of his wife.
What's that?
Said think of his wife.
The
She
wife?
was so upset.
Yeah. Oh my God, she felt so bad for her. That actor, I don't know who played her, but she was great.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
Warrior Woman also had a boyfriend as well.
Okay, bring back Warrior Woman then.
Really?
Yeah.
know that.
He was flirting with Mark's mom,
Oh, he doesn't deserve her.
That's.
and then
my-
kicked her out of the group.
I didn't know that was him. Okay, gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, she was a badass, and I just think that character, given more time and not having killed after the first episode, which I don't know how Lauren felt about that, but I was like, dude, she was so good in that, and then she gets their head snapped in half. Yeah, Invincible's a very dark show. It's you've
But
seen
we love
it.
the shock factor.
Yeah,
It's good.
that subway scene. Oh my God.
Oh.
How y'all like the subway scene? Yeah. I feel like Subway should have done a cross-pollination marketing thing with them. Be like, hey, Subway, eat flesh. You know, like, yeah. That'd have been fun. Anyway, that's yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. That's gross. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Hi, Ross. My name is Bonnie.
Good to see you, Bonnie. Yeah.
So my question is, what role would be your dream role, even if it's something that someone's already done or something no one's done?
I always wanted to play Han Solo as a kid, and I think, you know, you can't touch it now. Obviously, they did the you know what I want to, but I want to play a new character in Star Wars. There's a guy named Revan who's
Darth Revan.
And I've done some reading on him. I used to read all the fan fiction stuff as a kid and all the books, and I was really fascinated with that world. Thrawn was also a big character that I loved, but I think the actor that's been playing him recently on Clone Wars and also the Ahsoka is just perfect, absolutely perfect. So I wouldn't even want to touch that now, but I think Darth Revan would be cool because he's like kind of doing the fine line of like half Jedi, half Sith, going back and forth in the early era of the Republic, and I think that'd be cool to play, you know? Because I think good guys are fun to play to a point, but unless they have a dark side, I kind of lose interest, which is why I was always pushing Aaron to go darker and darker and darker. because he was just this affable, nice guy that's just so friendly all the time, even after he's been beat up by every community. And I was like, can he please get a little darker? And then finally, after they killed Eric, and then they said, we're going to cut your arm. I was like, great, loving all this. This would be great for character development. I was sad to lose Eric, obviously, but great for character. And that's when the beard came back, and they were like, yeah, we're going to make you more like comic book Rick. I was like, hell yeah, that's great. So I was very stoked about that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Every character needs a little bit of a dark backstory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Makes them more interesting. That's why I love Captain America, but he's just too perfect.
Yes.
He's a little
Yes.
too perfect.
Yep.
And I think that's why I'll always gravitate towards
Bucky.
characters like Iron Man or Bucky.
Yeah.
You're just like, they're wrestling with so much.
Yeah.
And it makes them more interesting to watch, I think.
And could never be me. Like I
No?
could never be that happy and
What are you talking
good
about?
and
You're
great
always
all
happy.
the time.
Every time I see you, you're always
well,
happy. Really?
You know, yeah. I mean,
Oh,
I'm always happy. But it's cool to have like a dark backstory. You're like,
Agreed.
oh, they're brooding.
Yes.
Let them brood.
That's why Batman's such an awesome, and Wolverine too, because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I know they're the good guys, but like, you wouldn't want to cross them either,
Yep.
too. Like, they're kind of crazy,
He's got
so.
kryptonite in his trunk at all
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Superman, don't make him mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Hell
exactly.
yeah, hell yeah.
Go ahead. What's your name?
Nolan, I have a question. Out of all the Marvel roles you've played, what would be your favorite?
I am pretty keen on Apocalypse, but to be honest with you, Red Skull was the one that started it all. Getting that call, we were just finishing up season 7 of The Walking Dead, and I had flown back from Georgia to LA because I figured out we're all done for the season. And then on the cab ride back home, my manager called me and she's like, hey, you booked that Hugo Weaving voice match thing. And I was like, oh, cool.
Is that how they labeled it, by the way? They didn't
100%.
say Red Skull?
They did not.
I was wondering that.
Because they said, they reached out because they knew what impressions. They're like, does Ross do a Hugo Weaving? And I was like, I don't know. Like, what Hugo Weaving? Because, like, Hugo is Australian, but he's known for doing accent work. Like, he obviously does British, American. And they were like, well, we're thinking like a German Hugo Weaving. And I was like, I think that's Red Skull, like, right? I don't know who else he's been German. And they said, well, we can't say, but here's a voice reference. And sure enough, it was from the first Avenger. And I sent it in a month before that, so I thought it was a pass. Usually if you don't hear right away, it's a pass, And then they called and they were like, yeah, we need him tomorrow morning in Atlanta. And I was like, I just left there, dude. Shit. So I literally told the taxi driver to get us, we took a Yui and went right back to the airport. And I took a red eye. And I got there like 6 in the morning, hadn't slept all night, was working on the lines the whole time. And I didn't know what it was until I got there and they were putting the dots that they maybe shave because they make you for the motion capture. And they put dots on the face and the makeup artist is looking at me and my eyes are darting around like crazy. And he's like, you have no idea what you're working on, dude. I was like, they haven't told me anything. And he goes,
Why am I here?
Yeah. He's like, what is going on? And there's like 150 people waiting for me. I'm like, this is not like any other voiceover job I've ever done. And they're like, this is the new Avengers movie. I was like, oh. Well, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and have some, like, heaving, like get my breath. And I literally just went to the bathroom and just like did some deep breaths and kind of collected myself. But I was freaking out because like Red Skull's literally one of the most iconic, oldest, supervillains in Marvel history. He is the oldest supervillain in Marvel history. The only other supervillain that's older than him is Lex Luthor.
Whoa.
Lex Luthor came out in 1938, I want to say, and I think Red Skull was 1939 or 1940. So about the same time, but yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, of course, yeah.
You were saying too to me earlier that the mocap suits experience was crazy and it took a very short amount of time. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, that was the cool thing because what me, Thanos, Hulk, certainly Rocket, all wore were these like glorified pajamas, and I'm sure you've seen pictures of them, but they have these like diodes sewn into the fabric that track your movement. So there's these TVs around the room that give you like a 3D mock-up of what you're gonna look like. It's a very rudimentary mock-up, but it's like, you're like kind of blocky, and you could see what you would look like in
So
real
cool.
time. And obviously they render on top of that, layers and layers of rendering. But it was such an easy way to work because at the end of the day, you're not worried about like, oh, did that camera capture because the camera is strapped to your face. And all the data is collected from your costume, so you don't have to worry about making sure that this camera caught you or whatever. It's all on you. And it was such an easy way to shoot. We literally finished that in 8 hours, I think. Both films were done back to back in one day.
So crazy.
crazy.
You don't have to hit the mark. You are the mark.
Exactly.
I am
You are the mark. Yes. And it's very, it's
Yeah.
very freeing. Very freeing. Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Alyssa. I have another Walking Dead question for you. I was wondering, which character's death did you find the most heartbreaking, and which actor's exit from the show was the saddest for you as well?
Yeah, when Daryl died, that was, you know, I still, like, I get choked up thinking about it. You guys know about that, right? That's, you guys know? You know about it, buddy? No? Oh, you didn't know? Oh, no, I always joke that, like, he will never die. He'll die when he decides he wants to die. But I think the death that messed me up the most was the dual death of Glenn and Abraham. Like, that was just, like, there was something so messed up about those deaths, and they were so visceral. Like, seeing Cudlett's head canoed in, and then seeing Steven's eyeball, like, literally dangling out of his eye socket. And the funny thing, I've said this many times, but, like, we were, like, talking in between takes after he got his head smashed in, and his eyeball is bouncing around, and I'm like, what are you doing next after this? He's like, oh, I'm gonna work on Voltron for a little bit, and his eyeball, like those paddle ball, you know, things with the, and I was like, well, you gotta stop moving or I'm gonna throw up, dude. Like, this is disgusting. Like, you couldn't believe how real it looked, you know? Like, that's the great thing about our show is that Greg Nicotero and his team at K&B, they're the best makeup artists in the business. Yeah. So if they want to make someone's head look like it's falling apart, they can do that, you know, which is the great thing about the show. But it was, I think we went so far with that one that we lost a lot of people because they were just like, that was too dark, you know. Yeah,
I actually had to take a break.
Did you?
I read the comics. I knew it was coming, and I had to, like, stop the show and be like, I'm gonna take a couple weeks and take a break because the makeup artists were so good and everybody conveyed the emotion so well. It was rough. Yeah. Luckily, you didn't have to go through that. You're ready for the spin-offs.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. Well, and I get it.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah, I'd love to, but they haven't told me anything. But I think the second part of your question, when Sasha died.
Oh.
Sorry if that's a
Yes.
spoiler for anybody. That was like 7 years ago, but just because Sonequa, I don't know if y'all met Sonequa, but like just the nicest, most wonderful woman I think I've had the pleasure of working with over the years. And she was obviously my first, well, she and Maggie were the first actors I worked with because I came out of the woods and I'm like, hey, I'm Aaron. And was like, I don't trust this J. Crew son of a bitch. Why does he look all clean cut, you know? But like, they were the first people I met, and just to this day, every time I see her, she's just like the nicest, most kind person. So when she died, I was really pissed off.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Very
Anybody else?
wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Anyone else? Yeah. We got Loki over here, yes. Take a stand, please. Stand up, yes. Oh, lovely. Yes.
Now kneel.
Glorious purpose, yes. Lovely. Yes, yes. Any other cosplays in here? Anybody got good cosplays? No?
Oh, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man,
Another
nice.
Marvel.
Heck yeah, very nice.
I will say, right before I came on stage, I saw that X-Men 97 is doing an Airbnb. Have you seen that?
Oh my God.
Are you going to try and go?
You know what's crazy? My friend Brandon over at comicbook.com, he's the one that kind of told me about it, and he got to be invited with a bunch of X-Men influencers, and I told him to tell them, I was like, hey, me and the cast want to go do this.
Yeah.
And when Airbnb heard that, they were like, really? They want to come? I'm like, why wouldn't we want to come?
I want to be
It's
the
like
danger
literally
room.
a live action Xavier Mansion. Like, of course we want to go to that. But they were like, oh, I can't believe they want to come and check this out. Like, yeah.
Well, if you
So-
go, you have to post about it.
I
'cause
will,
It looks
of course.
really,
It looks
really,
awesome,
really
right?
cool.
Which room would you choose?
I want to be in the danger room.
You wanna
I
s-
like the spinning thing they have on the wall.
Is there a bed in there too?
There's not a bed. I think
Oh.
the only bed they have in there is Beast's room. I'm
Oh.
pretty, and Jubilee's. There's only two.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's like they
Oh,
made
it's
it like
more
a
of an
facade.
installation.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But
okay, gotcha.
it's I think it's a 2-bedroom situation,
Gotcha.
and it's not really a mansion.
That's not a mansion.
But
I'm just gonna say definition
they
of
said
mansion.
we have a budget for 2 X-Men.
I think if a mansion is technically what, 4 or 5 bedrooms or more, right?
I think they do have other rooms. It's
Lies.
just no beds.
That's a lie. It's
They
not a
have
real mansion.
kitchen.
It's very sad. This is the inflation for you. Sleepy Joe Biden is ruining this country. He's making you believe that this mansion is not a real. It's not real. It's a fake mansion. It's not real. Believe me, okay? A McMansion is not a real mansion. I have many. I have in Florida, in New York. I have all over the country. I used to collect homes made by Frank Lloyd Wright. I'm that rich. I'm a very rich man. Believe me. Believe me. I've got so many homes. You gotta love them.
But do they have danger rooms?
They've got. Oh, believe me. But they're used for other things. Believe me. Danger room. Okay. Heyo.
I don't know where I was going with that, but
Donald. Okay, well, you either have to bring me or you have to send many pictures if you go to that thing, because it looks sick. Yeah. Well, what can we expect of you coming up? What you can talk about.
Yeah, the thing I'm one of the things I'm most excited about, I definitely can't talk about that. But
you could.
I could, but then I get killed because there's assassins from Disney and Marvel everywhere. They're always waiting for you to say something.
Mickey Mouse with a sniper rifle. Like,
oh boy! Oh, another headshot! Yeah. God, I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. I probably. But no, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's great. We're going in a darker direction with Disney now. It's perfect. Can you imagine Mickey as like an assassin, like a cold-hearted assassin? Like, yeah! Oh, that'll be $500,000.
He would do it.
I killed the president of Bolivia.
He would do it.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why I said Bolivia, but so the project I can't talk about is very exciting, but the things I can talk about, obviously we're doing X-Men 97 season 2. We're almost done recording it entirely, and then we give it to the animators, and it takes them a time to obviously, because the team that they've got is just crushing it.
Yeah.
They're really crushing it, but I honestly don't. I know we all want to see it come out next week, but like I think it's better if we wait to make sure all the elements are there to make it perfect, because season 1 was flawless in my opinion. And thank you. And it's just like it's been so good to see, and I think like if we give them enough time, we'll keep making great content.
Yes.
You know, but Invincible season 3, we're almost wrapped on that, and that's going to be coming out probably. I don't want to speak for, because Robert would be like, don't tell people anything because we don't know. But I have a feeling it's probably going to be early next year. I would imagine. Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Fingers
Well,
crossed.
thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you for having me.
us. Everybody give Ross one big round of applause.
Thank you.
We're actually going to do a stage selfie. Do you mind if we would everybody like to join our stage selfie? If you stand up in your seats, baby, don't come close because then we won't capture your face. I want to be able to see everybody. So everybody stand up in your seats. Oh, okay. At the main stage, they said don't come forward or we miss them. That makes sense. Yeah, we'll crouch. They told me 2 conflicting things.